Ever since the days of Eric Lindros refusing to sign after being drafted first overall, or perhaps something more recent, Kevin Hayes being drafted in the first round just to give the Blackhawks a big ol' middle finger and sign with the Rangers, the debate on whether or not a player should have the ability to refuse to sign to their drafted team rages on. On one hand, prospects being forced to sign with their team creates more parity and just fairness in the NHL. Imagine if McDavid saw the Oilers and just went, meh. Less desirable markets would be having a terrible time. But on the other hand, it is not ethical to forever bond a player to their team like he's their permanent property. At the moment, on a scale of this is BS, a team should own a prospect's rights, and this is BS, a team shouldn't own a player like a piece of property, I'd say we're somewhere around here. And as more prospects like Adam Fox go down this route, this is only going to stir the pot more. But there's something I haven't mentioned yet that adds another layer of chaos. If an NHL prospect is drafted and does not sign with their team within 2 years, that prospect can redeclare for the draft once again and get drafted a second time, which of course means that the original team that drafted them loses all rights to that player. And even though this isn't super common, it has happened numerous times throughout the last couple decades. And we have seen some absurd storylines involving massive stars. You know the term, burying a player in the minors? Well, after going into the 1998 draft as the top-ranked goalie prospect in the world, Mathieu Chouinard was projected to be that elite starting goaltender. So much so, the Ottawa Senators would draft him in the first round, 15th overall. And after returning to the QMJHL, Channard would keep this title, as he would literally dominate the league. First team All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Valuable Player of the QMJHL. Channard was gaining momentum and was looking great. Except, he wanted nothing to do with the Ottawa Senators. So much so, he refused to sign, stating we couldn't come to terms on a contract. And after waiting the full 2 years, Mathieu Chouinard would re-enter the draft. But little did he know, the Ottawa Senators, being completely salty that they wasted a first round pick on him, would draft him for a second time in the second round. But this time he would basically have to sign with them, as he was graduated from the CHL with nowhere to go. And of course the Senators would basically bury him in the minors, as he would never even sniff the NHL during his time in Ottawa. He would refuse to sign again, sign with the Kings, play a single NHL game, and has played the majority of his career in the ECHL. And honestly, I don't know whether I feel horrible for the guy or just laugh, as this is just clearly a case of instant karma, and the reason why players have to think long and hard before doing this. And well, Alex Ovechkin was born on September 17th, meaning he was 2 days past that limit. However, the Florida Panthers would hilariously try to bypass the system by attempting to draft Ovechkin not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 separate times, arguing that if a leap year didn't exist, Ovechkin would be actually born on the 11th. What? Absurd logic that almost worked, but it clearly did not, as the NHL would end up overruling this absurd attempt. And of course, Ovechkin would be drafted first overall the next season, and has turned into a decent secondary scorer. Yeah, he scores a goal every now and then. The 2014 NHL draft has proven to be extremely unpredictable, with the top end talent being barely in the first round, and numerous massive disappointments within the top end of the draft. And at pick number 23, Colorado would go, "Nuh-uh, Mr. David Pastrnak. We want Connor Bleackley." And what's fascinating, and a little foreshadowing here, Bleackley was not expected to be that potential first-line talent. No, it was his great leadership in a very well-rounded game, combined with great compete levels. Think, I don't know, Bo Horvat. But the very next season, Connor Bleackley would show up to camp completely out of shape. And not only did it spawn this Twitter account and photo, but Colorado wanted nothing to do with him, which is so ironic considering his biggest trait was his leadership and compete. Competing for some pizza. Thus, they just literally didn't want to sign him. And then traded his rights away not even 2 years later to the Arizona Coyotes as a throw-in player. And Arizona wanted nothing to do with him either. So Connor would once again declare for the draft in 2016, where he would go from a highly coveted first round pick to a 5th round selection. Now, unfortunately, Bleackley would suffer several serious injuries, which has led him into an ECHL career. But it goes to show in this modern league how teams will not even put up with out-of-shape players. Throughout the last decade, the NHL has completely switched gears when it comes to drafting and developing goaltenders. Long are the days of Rick DiPietro being drafted first overall? No. For the most part, most of the NHL goaltending supply is made up from later on draft picks, which has also proven to create absolute chaos, as teams desperately need 2 good goalies. But because a goaltender's development is so chaotic and unpredictable, it is like winning the lottery if you do develop that elite starting goaltender. And to give you some perspective, back in 2015, so one of the best drafts in NHL history, we have only seen Mackenzie Blackwood prove himself out of the 24 goalies selected. And this draft was 6 years ago. And in 2010, the Carolina Hurricanes would take a complete shot in the dark on Frederik Andersen, as he was one of the last picks in the draft. And this is what I mean. Carolina obviously did not know what they had in Andersen, because 2 years later, Andersen wasn't happy with their depth charts, as they had several other goalies in the system, and so he would walk and re-enter the 2012 draft, where he would be redrafted by the Ducks, going from a 7th round draft pick to a highly touted 3rd round pick. The next season, Freddie would come to North America and tear up the AHL. The following season, he'd begin to start getting starts, where he would develop into that bona fide elite starting goaltender. Now, unfortunately and ironically, the Ducks would have too much goalie depth, so they would trade Freddie for the Sam Steele 1st round pick. But Andersen has proven to be that legit starting goaltender in Toronto. So if anything, this just goes to show how a team can have a great player in the system, but because of a goaltender's chaotic development, they didn't really know what they had until it was too late. Anyways guys, who is your team's greatest draft steal? Comment down below, I would love to know. And if you enjoyed the videos, make sure to press subscribe for some more awesome hockey content. We are officially on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching.